Hello and welcome to the middle of Griffith Park in LA. There's actually an abandoned zoo nearby. There's cages, there's old cages, a lot of graffiti, a lot of decay. But in spite of all of this, I've brought Brandon Rogers to what should technically be like a home spot for you, because Day in the Park was one of the most exceptional videos ever created.
I think most outdoorsy places I feel at home. I think that's a healthy way to live your life. I like to shoot in parks because legally you're allowed to get away with it. It's very hard to kick someone out of a park unless you're murdering someone, it seems. And so and even that we can depict without getting bothered. And so it's very stress-free.
Just lots of blood everywhere in a porta potty. It's fine.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful day.
Do you get thrown out of places a lot? I feel like CVS really probably has you on a watch list at this point.
I don't think anyone at CVS is really, no one really cares that much there. I mean, you go to the places where you could just tell the employees look miserable or they're just not wanting to deal with it. And that might be either A, they just don't want to deal with it because they're having a bad day, or B, that's the highlight of their day. And so it's entertaining to them. No, we get kicked out of, the places we get kicked out of are nice places, like really nice hotels or restaurants or grocery. But even then, I don't know. It's like, how do you approach what you see, the chaos that's happening?
Yeah, I imagine people must stare a lot but not really know how to approach insanity as it unfolds.
Yes, and it's cathartic to me because I hate people who stare, and so that fuels me to be even crazier because it's my sort of middle finger for people for staring. And it's fun. It's fun to make a scene when you're allowed to. Like it's a time and place when we're making a video. I mean, I'm the most shy person when I go out and have lunch. I don't like people talking loud when it's a crowded area. But when I'm playing a character, it's very cathartic. You just get a no holds barred, just swing and flop.
So you once said in an interview that you like to find funny people and then play characters of them because that's even funnier to you.
Yeah, not necessarily funny people, but people that I like to make fun of.
Right.
Yeah, I like to. I like to think that I'm very observant of people's mannerisms, like the everyday, the people that we can relate to, the people behind the counter, or people we answer to in school, or doctors, whatever. And it's fun to play off of. It's fun to interpret them in my own mind. It's sort of like when kids sort of, no one ever talks like that unless they have a severe disability. But it's fun to mimic someone artificially to how you want them to know that you see them.
So of all the characters that you have, who was the one that was maybe closest to you in your personal life that wasn't just a kind of passing observation?
I think Grandpa is, and for those of you who don't know, he's an old man character, hence the name Grandpa, and I don't think I'm like him yet, but I think I'm going to age into someone very similar to him.
I don't know, you've managed to not curse the entire time that before and during the interview, and Grandpa's got a filthy mouth. A mouth that's just full of filth.
Oh, yes. He's got a very dirty mouth. Well, it's a very old mouth. It's been around a long time. And,
and it's had a lot of things in it.
It's had a lot of things in it. It's had even worse things come out of it. And I think it's a well-polished mouth, I think. It's seasoned.
A nicely seasoned mouth.
Ooh, yes.
Do you find it's difficult putting yourself out on a platform like YouTube?
No.
Not necessarily in terms of the financial side of it, obviously with the apocalypse and advertiser-friendly content, but in terms of the response that you have from people, because obviously you aren't white, you aren't in that demographic of safe comedy.
Right. I don't fit a lot of. I guess I don't know. YouTube has made it very easy for people like me. I like to cut out the middleman. I don't like working with a lot of people on board, and so I've worked with various production companies. I've worked with, and every project is different depending on who you're working with. But when it's your own project, it's truly like YouTube has put all the power into the artist's hands, and so it's rather than sucking the dicks of networks and executives, you're sucking the dicks of the masses, and it puts you so much more in touch with your fans, and it's so much easier to get the image you want of yourself out there rather than hoping that some movie that really paints you well casts you or something. I get to control my entire image, which is a blast. And so so it's not hard to be offensive at all. And when I upload something, I think people expect me to be offensive. I think people would be more turned off if I uploaded something they could show their grandparents.
So in terms of the offense, do you receive a lot of people who are offended in the comment section, people that stumble upon it? Because despite the thumbnail, it is quite innocuous titles. Now, I know that you've obviously put explicit at the end of it to sort of give people that warning, but obviously, unfortunately, people on YouTube don't necessarily read before they click. Do you ever get a lot of backlash or a lot of racism in the comments or a lot of vitriol from people?
No, surprisingly enough, I've received zero, like almost every video. Any complaint is fairly constructive. It's like, oh, I thought your jokes were too spaced apart, or your jokes were too quickly together. I think that in terms of people being offended, no, not as much as I thought I would. So I've recently stopped putting offensive in the title.
Right.
I'm trying to, yes, I do like to walk the edge, and when I feel like I've reached the edge, I try and go a little further. And so, I don't know. I think if people want appropriate content, there's a sea of it out there. I think when people subscribe to me, I like to think they know what they're getting into. By any one of my videos, I like to think they know exactly what they're getting into. So I don't know. Knock on wood, I have been very fortunate so far to not piss off anyone, and I hope to tread in that same territory.
So you are currently going on, well, you're about to go on tour. Not currently, you're going on tour.
Yes. Well, we hit up 5 cities, and I just wanted to do 5 cities because I've never done live stuff. I've never performed, and I thought, well, let's just do these 5 and see if it's enjoyable, if they enjoy it most of all, and if it's something that I enjoy doing. And yes, it was we had a great turnout. Everyone had a great time. I had fun. So I wanted to extend it another 5. And so, in mid-July, we're hitting up 5 new cities, Tampa, Portland, Phoenix, Philly, and Chicago. I tried to space them as far from the cities we already hit as possible. So hopefully, if you couldn't make it to any of those 5, I hope to see you at one of these. Yeah.
So is your stand-up going to be closer to the characters? Like, will we see the CEO and Elmer, and we would do like little bits like little characters, or is it more of like a Dave Chappelle? Everyone comes in and we just kind of assess the situation of what's happened today and who's in the audience, kind of thing.
Right. I got to tell you something. I forgot your name.
Ash.
Ash. So
you can call me whatever. It's fine.
Well, I'm going to call you Ash.
Okay, that's acceptable.
It's a variety show. Some of it is stand-up, some of it is singing, some of it is sketches, and yes, there are a placenta of characters I've included in this performance. It's very hard to take a YouTube channel, something that's so tailored to being quick cut and a specific format on YouTube as it is alone, and then dissecting it and reconstructing it as a live piece. So my goal is essentially to sell the same kind of mood that my videos sold. So if you leave the theater feeling a little grossed out and a little offended and just like you just came essentially, a lot of hard, violently came, then I've done my job. And I hope that's what all the kids who see me feel when they leave. Oh.
No, that came out
no,
very
that better
wrong.
Make the final cut.
I don't edit anything, so this is fine. This is just one long piece of filth.
They'll know what to keep in. They'll know what to keep.
Kids will be coming everywhere. Brandon Rogers show near you. What an exciting endorsement that was. In terms of you getting into character, are there different lengths of prep time for different characters? Like, does the CEO come a lot easier than Japanese girlfriend?
The women are the worst characters to play because they have the most things on them. They wear makeup and wigs. The men characters is really just more of an outfit, and I just tweak my hair or I tweak. Right. Yeah, the CEO character, any character that has to dress femininely is very time consuming. And so when we plan a shoot, if I'm playing X amount of characters, we have to factor in, okay, she takes 20 minutes to get ready, Elmer takes 5 minutes to get ready, Sam is 2 minutes, and each character, you kind of understand how long each one takes to prep before you shoot. And it was a very vigorous process for discovering that. We've been rushing a lot of times, and I've miscalculated how long a character would take to get ready.
But do you have to kind of like draw on a separate type of energy for each one, or is it a case if you just kind of once the outfit comes on, it's like you're done? Like,
well, I don't want to sound like I am disability appropriating this mental illness, but I do think that part of me feels like I have split personalities in a way, and I think all of us can relate to that to a sense. We all have different faces we put on to talk to different people in our life. You don't talk to your boss the same way you would talk to your kid or your mom or someone at the gay bar. I think I just exaggerate those different faces I put on. And each character is a part of me, I think. Most of them are a good chunk of who I am. I just exaggerate that one element, and I try and blanket it stereotyping a person that fits that piece of the pie the most. So whenever I feel confident, I feel like I'm in charge of things, I feel like a CEO, and I take that and I blanket it over everyone who's a CEO, and they just talk and, pick me up at 10 and move my 10 o'clock to 8, my 8 o'clock to 8, and that whole garb, that's just all she speaks.
Right.
And she just gets men eating her out all the time, and that's all she knows. And that's...
What a life. What a life.
It is, yes. Most of my characters have a life I'd want. Yeah.
Have you ever done a character and you fleshed it out, you wrote it out, you started doing some test shots, and then you were like, it's either A, isn't working, or it isn't funny?
Yes, I have a hard drive in my apartment full of halfway shot videos that my cameraman Gabriel and we've worked on for over the last few years. Just things where it's like we got halfway through the video and like, this character is not funny, or this character I don't feel it, or it's just not working. And so yeah, there's a weird graveyard of just dead ideas that we shot, and some of them are we got great locations cinematically, they're beautiful. But we'll never release them just because everything they see that's uploaded to YouTube, there's probably a good 80% more footage that was attempted to be shot that you're not getting there. And so we're always filming all the time.
Can you give me some of the people that you tried to do as examples?
Some of the people
the graveyard characters.
Yes. There's a punk rock guy that I haven't quite given up on yet. He's trapped in 80s post-punk era. Early 90s, 80s, and he's very, very fit. I think all he wears is jewelry and tattoo ink.
Stunning.
And he's like, I like the idea
and like a ripped
of him.
Sex Pistols t-shirt and spits everyone that walks near him.
Yes, exactly. And him and there's a PE child that I'm working on, someone who's in PE, because I feel like we've all been in it. No matter what part of the world you're from, there was some sort of physical shit that you had to do. I was one of the kids who I didn't like doing physical things, and in school, so I have a character that's halfway shot. We just didn't finish the video of a kid who hates PE. Sorry, I just spit on you.
It's okay, don't worry. I regularly just spray over everyone else. It's a gift and a curse at the same time.
I'm glad to return it.
I'm gonna rub this off onto a Q-tip and then either do an ancestry test or sell it on eBay.
I think we might be related.
What's the strangest thing that a fan has ever given you? Because I imagine you must get some very strange things in the mail.
I've gotten sex toys. They got those where you're at?
Were they fresh, or were they... What do you mean where I'm at? I live in New York. Of course they've got sex toys. And even then,
well,
it's
I'm
in
sorry,
London.
you didn't exactly
It's in
sound like
London,
you're from the Big
Which,
Apple.
let's be honest, London, we created wooden dildos during the World War. And they were crafted after soldiers' penises so that their wives wouldn't get bored and fuck other men, which they definitely did during the Second World War. Or First World War. A world war.
Well, you guys
a
also
war of the world.
created a currency of only metal for a very long time. You tried paying a stripper with that.
Yeah.
Take out one of her remaining teeth.
They're important, okay?
Yes.
So sex toys, were they in the packaging or were they used?
No, that's the sketchy thing. And I've received lots of edible, can I say
of course you can.
Marijuana. I've received
Why
brownies.
are you worried about saying marijuana?
Well,
all the things,
I don't know where you're from.
All the things.
New York or London. I know it's hard to get high in both those places.
Well, New York's just relaxed its cannabis laws. All the governors are arguing with each other at the minute about about legalizing cannabis.
They're arguing. See, that's the point. They're arguing when they should be smoking. If they each had a J, they would realize the error of their ways. I'm telling you, Ashley.
But no, here's the thing. Cynthia Nixon was like, I'm going to legalize cannabis, vote for me. Then Andrew Cuomo, who's the current governor, was like, I'm going to, of course, legalize cannabis. You can still vote for me. And Bill de Blasio was like, I'm going to give an order out that means you shouldn't really get arrested in the 5 boroughs. So come to New York, smoke where you want. No one gives a fuck unless you're,
Well, I'll hit you. I'll look you up when I'm there.
Terrifying. Terrifying.
Oh, me looking you up?
Yeah, of course. Like you turning up at my door, I just imagine a menagerie of horrors that would follow.
Well,
especially because I imagine Gabriel would be behind you. You wouldn't tell me that you're doing a shoot. You're trying out a character, and then you would just doorstep me with it, and I'd be like, "This is a thing that I have. This is my immediate reality. Like, I'll accept this."
He's everywhere I go. He's been under the table this whole time. I bring a Gabriel with me everywhere.
I wondered who that man masturbating wildly behind a tree while pointing a camera at me was.
I thought that was your guy.
No. I'm a one-trick pony. I'm a one-hand guy.
Well, we got a problem here.
So, where is your favorite place to shoot in LA? Where do you like shooting? You've said that you like shooting parks, but is there somewhere that you've actually shot that you were like, actually, this is really cool, like a rooftop or, on top of an office block or...
God, every video is a different location. I guess some of the cooler locations we've got were like, we shot one time in a fashion factory, like a fashion warehouse. They make different designer pieces. And the guy who owned the company, it was Iron Fist Apparel, and they make all these weird things, and I gotta play him, essentially the owner of this fashion line. And so I made him blind, a blind fashion designer, and he's, of course, German, and
and gay, and potentially a Nazi.
Well, he's not gay, maybe he's he might have contributed without knowing because he doesn't have the eyes.
Oh,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
that's an interesting moral question, actually. If you have sex with a man but you can't tell because you're blind, is it gay?
Well, I think you know when the dick is in your ass. I think that's a good indication.
No, I mean when your dick is in someone else's bottom, but you don't know it's in someone else's bottom. Well, you don't know it's in a man's bottom. Is it gay?
Well, I didn't know we were being specific with the positions here. Yes, if you're the top, then perhaps that could be a blunder and quite funny. But I don't know, I imagine at some point you'd feel something that doesn't quite feel like the gender you were hoping. Or it's sex. Jesus Christ, I mean, crucified. I don't want to Roseanne Barr myself here. Oh, God.
It's pretty hard to Roseanne Barr, you know?
I don't know, she made it look pretty easy.
So in terms of inspirations, what kind of stuff do you watch? What kind of things do you read to consume to kind of either relax or get inspiration from?
Like marijuana?
Marijuana.
I guess marijuana is a garnish to whatever source of entertainment you're drinking from, right? Oh, I don't know. I like Netflix. I'm a very easy to please man. I like Netflix, and I just watch. Or I'll go to the movies. I'll go to the movies by myself, which I find to be very, very productive because there's no one else there to influence your decision on the film. And I always wonder, half my mind is thinking, well, what do they think of this movie? Did I just waste all their time? Are they just like, oh, I don't want to, now I'm with him watching this piece of shit. No, if you're by yourself, you can hate it and choose if it's good or not. And I think that, I don't know, I always feel like I leave movie theaters very inspired. And so.
You work with a lot of different people on your various sketches as you go across, especially with things like, again, to reference Day in the Park.
Yes.
Which just had 15 people support cast around that?
It was a hefty crew of people we had, yeah.
So in terms of you looking for people to collaborate with, do they approach you? Do you approach them? How do you meet those people that you collaborate with?
Every person's different. It's kind of like I'll just meet people either at parties or on shoots for other projects that I'm working with other people, and it's sort of like you see someone and you see something interesting about them and you don't want to let them go, so you just keep calling. Like most of the time, it's me calling them,
right?
But they have a lot of trust in me. A lot of them don't sort of question the material when they get it, or even if they get it. Sometimes they don't even care to look at the script, which is a very big compliment because I feel like, I work with people who very much trust that I'm not going to make them say anything that'll get them crucified.
Right.
And so far I haven't. But
is there anyone that you've desperately wanted to work with in the YouTube community, or just people that you know, or celebrities, anything like that?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of really awesome people on YouTube. Only this year have I started to immerse myself in the YouTube community, and I started working with people like Christine Sedelko or John Kozar, and those are people that I was a fan of before I even knew they knew who I was.
Right.
And so, I don't know, I just sort of wait until I find an organic moment to speak with them or talk with them, and this year I've been collaborating with a lot more YouTubers, and it's been way more creative. It's been feeling liberating. So.
Do you have a working relationship with YouTube? Have you ever sort of, I guess I'm dancing around the way of saying, are YouTube cool with what you do, or are you on kind of maybe like a list, like a YouTube shit list?
There has been no official comment from either side of who supports any of my actions or condones them, and I like to keep it unspoken, because so far we've had no problems, but I really don't think that what I do is that bad. I really don't think it's bad in the sense of like, oh, he said pussy, or they made a rape joke. It's like, we live in a world that's so fucking serious all the time, and the people, most satirical humor on YouTube it just falls flat. And I feel like if I am a channel where people, subscribe and they can laugh and get nothing but just a quick, cheap, snackable chuckle from a video or two throughout the day, then that's all. I mean, that's all that the videos are accomplishing. They're just making people laugh. They're not influencing anyone's decision. They're far too ridiculous to be taken seriously at all, enough to offend anyone, which is why I think people haven't really, decapitated me yet. But
and that's pretty extreme. I mean, like that there are worse things on YouTube. There are worse.
Right.
There are far worse actual dark people on YouTube.
My stuff, I like to think of it as snackable. I like to think of it as something you don't have to spend a lot of time watching. And, it's like Lay's potato chips, except my videos have probably killed less people. And they're easier to reach for.
That's harsh, but fair, but accurate.
Well,
what do your family think about your job and the content that you produce? Do you have conversations with them regularly about it? Do they ever see it?
I don't talk with them too much about my videos. I'm scared of what if I dig too deep about their opinions of them, I'm just gonna hit like a nerve and be like, oh fuck, they didn't like that. No, from what I can tell, they're pretty supportive. I mean, I come from a fairly liberal family. I learned my sense of humor from a lot of the people who raised me, and so this apple is not that far fallen from that tree, and so yeah, they've been for the most part pretty supportive. Some of them not so much. I remember when I uploaded my first video, somehow my aunt found it and she sent it to my mom, and she said, "I think your son needs therapy." And so that was kind of the vibe I had to shake for a few years until I started to make money off of YouTube, and they were like, "Oh,
it's a job.
It's a job now." Yeah. So now I got their full support.
And you weren't put in therapy? No therapy? Zero therapy?
Oh yeah, no, I've never had therapy my whole life, and I think I'm successul from that.
Oh, I see. So what now? Like, what's the future plans for the channel, for you? Where are we going? Because there was a moment, almost, I think it was last year, you have to forgive me for being a little shaky on my dates, where you almost seemed like you might just throw in the towel on YouTube and be like, this isn't working. Like, it's not financially viable to make this kind of content on that platform.
I've given this impression. Oh my word. Well, no, that's very wrong. So,
okay.
So no, YouTube is my pride and joy. It's the rock of my whole. I will never stop making YouTube videos, probably ever.
Okay.
I would make them if no one watched them at all. I would make them I would pay to make. I didn't used to pay to make. I was broke, spending the money I had on the props and costume. So YouTube, I mean, unless there's another platform that does exactly what YouTube does, which I highly doubt. YouTube is a pretty big titan.
Yeah, no one's going to touch it.
And I don't know, it's just, I love having direct control over what I do and my fans, what they're going to see of me. I don't know, but the channel is very, very low still. I mean, we just hit 4 million, but I look at people.
Real. Very low.
I look at people who have like 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14 million, and I'm like, I can do that. Like, if they have that many subscribers, there's no reason I should. And so until that feeling dissipates, we'll have the same feeling with television and film. I'm nowhere on TV. I'm nowhere at the movies,
right.
and I'm like, well, I could have done that. So until that feeling dissipates, then those gaps will be continued to be filled. So yeah, I guess I'm just going to continue to infect the media as much as I can on every platform, starting with this interview.
It's happening. We've broached my mission. Well,
it's
thank you.
Already begun.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to chat to me.
The pleasure's
I'm
been
sorry
all
it's been on a very firm bench that's made my ass go numb.
Well, my ass is very much alive and well. I can feel everything.
Well, that's good. I feel like you've got probably less padding on it as well, so that's even more impressive. You must have quite the muscly, firm.
You'd be surprised. I've had 0 surgeries.
0?
0 on my ass.
Why are you? Oh, your ass. I was just be like, why is your face so youthful? What children are you consuming and how?
Oh yeah, I just have a drawer of babies. I just suck out their life force through their asshole, and I just keep myself young.
Wow.
I'm actually 57. You'd never be able to tell.
Do you put cannabis in the mouth so it's like you're also ripping a bong while you're absorbing life force?
Turn the baby into a bong.
Wow.
There's a little bowl into its mouth. You screw it in, just suck out the ass. It's the best way to get high.
It is. These kind of reasons and more that you should probably check out Brandon Rogers on YouTube. And
I hope
if you can get to one of his dates, go see the variety show where you'll experience what it's like to make children come.
Oh yes, tickets, BrandonRogersLive.com. That's the best website you can go to in the next 5 minutes, so please do it.
Or Pornhub, or both. I mean, whatever,
Buy the tickets first and then reward yourself with a quick wank, as you say.
Wank, yeah.
Yeah.